Classic Throwback TV.
You be hi. Have a seat.
And you're prettier.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallace. Thank you very much. Mrs. Wallace, you're like a supermodel or something. You're Mrs. Wallace. Faith, thank you for bringing Mrs. Wallace in. Faith, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Faith, you don't mind if today it's not all about you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just came up here to support Miss Wallace.
Okay, good. Okay.
And to say hi, of course.
Yeah, where's Todd? Hi, Todd. How you all? Mrs. Wallace, everybody, this is Mrs. Voletta Wallace, of course, the late, great, notorious B.I.G.'s mom. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm so glad you came to our studio.
Okay.
Do I have any food in my teeth? I'm sorry, Mrs. Wallace. We meant to get the food. I wasn't sure what time you were going to be here. Look, how does it look? Yeah, there you go. All right. So Mrs. Wallace and Faith came up here because there's something going on with the Wallace Foundation, right?
Yes, there is.
What is going on over there?
On March 11th, we'll be having our annual gala.
Turn it down. Mrs. Wallace is soft-spoken. Go ahead, Mrs. Wallace.
That's necessarily. On the 11th, we'll be having our annual gala, and it will be over at the Metropolitan Pavilion this year. What else do you want to know?
How much are the tickets? Where do you get them? Oh, here's my invitation.
Yeah.
It's called Big Night Out.
That's right.
Okay, Mrs. Wallace, I'll translate. Okay, it's going to be at the Metropolitan Pavilion.
Yep.
Cocktails at 7. There's dinner at 8. It's going to benefit the Christopher Wallace Memorial Fund. Foundation, excuse me. And it's co-sponsored by Arista and Bad Boy and FUBU and Vibe Magazine and Pele Pele, among others. It's going to be hosted by Ed Lover, Dr. Dre, and Free from 106 in Park. And a special performance by Faith. Let me see. And you're paying special tribute to the following mothers who have lost their loved ones. Diane Houghton, that would be Aaliyah's mom. Hermina Rogers, Freaky Ty's mom. Gilda Terry, Big L's mom. Gail Tirado, Big Pun's mom. Afeni Shakur,
Tupac's mom.
Tupac's, and Wanda Lopez. And Jam Master Jay's mother. Boy, oh boy.
It's going to be a special event.
Yeah. Do the women who have lost their children after Biggie's death, these moms, do they reach out to you, Mrs. Wallace?
A few of them. Some of them I haven't met.
Yeah.
I have met Afeni. I've met Aaliyah's mom. I think that's... Oh, I've met Lisa's, not her mother, but I've met Lisa's mom.
Yeah.
I've met Big Pun, but not his mother. But so far, that's it. I haven't met the other mothers.
Now, if people want to go to this event, which everybody, by the way, this is Tuesday, March 7th. Cocktails begin at 7.
March 11th.
March 11th, excuse me. March 11th. Cocktails at 7. Dinner at 8. Faith performs sometime after, everybody ate and drank, right?
I have a couple.
Okay, good. And how do they get their tickets for this?
Well, the number is there. They can call.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to give you the contact number in just a few moments. Everybody fumbles for pen and paper, Mrs. Wallace, so I'll continue to promote this for you.
Okay.
So regular people can go?
Regular people can go, and there's also a special package that's being out now for anyone who would like to go but cannot afford the $1,000 ticket. 4 people could get together and buy 4 tickets for $1,000.
Okay.
So that's a very special package that we're sending out now for all those who cannot afford a $1,000 ticket.
That's a lot of money. But
No,
it's a very worthy cause. It's a special night out. It's called Big Night Out.
It's very, very special. And we do a lot. The foundation does a lot for the kids all over.
You provide, last I heard, books and computers. For schools?
For schools, mentor programs, daycare centers, and we also do trips. The summertime we do trips.
Who takes these trips? How do the children get involved?
Well, we select a neighborhood, and for example, I think last year they went to Great Adventure. The following year they went to Dorney Park.
Dorney Park.
So the kids in the community or special community, they just get together. We have a coordinator.
Okay.
For the past couple of years, we have a coordinator down in Brooklyn. I think it's Miss Jenny.
Okay.
She coordinates the group and took the kids out for the summer. And summers prior to that, we did a basketball tournaments. Mm-hmm. We did the basketball tournaments for about 3 years.
Now, Mrs. Wallace, is the foundation, is this what you do? Is this what we consider your job now?
That's my job.
And you were a teacher prior to Big Staff?
25 years.
Wow.
25 years.
Now, do you actually get up in the morning and get in your car, start it, and drive to an office at the foundation?
I don't drive.
You've never had your license. That's just by virtue of being a native New Yorker, right?
And I don't like to drive.
Yeah.
You know, the street kind of scare me.
Yeah.
But right now, I have an office in my home.
Okay.
And I have a coordinator in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And prior to that, the office was in New York City.
Okay.
But it was just too much for me. So right now, I'm between someone who runs it.
Okay.
And a tiny office in my home. That's where I run the foundation.
And you live in Jersey, somewhere out there?
No, I live far further than Jersey.
You live like in Pennsylvania or something?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. No, I got you, Miss Wallace. We're not going to get all up in your street and stuff. We're talking to Mrs. Wallace here. There's going to be some decorum in this room, damn it, Faith. You and those wild questions you always want to ask somebody, Faith. Not today.
Not today.
So I see you and Faith. Faith is a very sweet woman. We'll talk about her like she's not here. She's a very sweet woman.
Very, very sweet woman.
And I see that your relationship with Faith, at least to us, you know, we people looking on the outside, has always been good.
Always been good. Contrary to what you read in the magazine.
Have I ever read that, I don't know, Faith, have I ever said that you all's relationship was not good?
I don't know if you verbatim have said. I'm pretty sure that around, there probably have been times when callers were about her.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I don't think you've ever,
That's one thing. Don't try to blame me on that one, Mrs. Wallace. So, Mrs. Wallace, so when you have to go to the grocery store, how do you get there?
I have somebody taking the grocery store.
Does this person live in your house?
No.
So you will call like a limo company or something like that?
No.
How do you get to the store?
You know,
Puppy's paying for this, of course, right?
No, Miss Wallace pays for this.
But Miss Wallace got a lot of money. Mrs. Wallace, you look like, should I just say, a very well taken care of woman at this particular point.
I take care of myself.
She's got on no jewelry.
Yeah.
Her nails are done clear. What is that? What kind of watch is that, Miss Wallace?
Gosh.
Something really fancy I see going on there. Mrs. Wallace, you look like money. You do. Your hair is changing up. Okay.
She's really good.
Well, I'm liking what's going on there. It does not translate.
I like yours, too.
Thank you.
I mean it. I'm very serious.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallace.
I've seen you on television a few times.
Yeah.
I mean, I've cursed you out a lot of times.
Yeah.
But you're very pretty.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallace.
You really are.
Thank you.
I mean, it's one thing to see on the radio.
Yeah, you got it.
One thing to see in the newspaper, but face to face, 18 inches apart from each other.
Yeah.
You're very, very, very.
I always tell the listeners that, and they're like, Wendy, look, the TV don't lie. You know, you look like a drag queen or whatever they want to say. You know, they're awful. I ask for it, though, Mrs. Wallace. I know I ask a lot of questions that, make people mad. How's your relationship with little Kim?
Oh, God.
Yeah?
Right now, I'm not feeling little Kim. I'm really not. I have a great deal of respect for little Kim.
Yes.
She's a very talented woman, but I just think that sometimes she does things and she doesn't think who is being hurt.
Okay.
All she thinks of is Kim. And I'm kind of sick of it. I really am.
How long has your relationship been like this with her?
I haven't had a relationship with Kim. I never have. I mean, we have a business relationship.
Right.
Whenever I see her, I gave her a lot of respect, and she gave me a lot of respect in the past. But I can safely say that what Kim is doing, Kim is only focusing on Kim, and that's what the world is all about. You know, we are a very, very selfish bunch.
Yeah.
You know, we are very self-centered, but sometimes we have to think who we are hurting behind our selfishness. We really have to think that. Go ahead.
Did you see the VH1 Driven?
Yes, I did, and I wanted to puke. I had a headache the whole night because I saw it late at night.
Do you think your son loved Little Kim, or for lack of a better word, was she just a little exercise after midnight? And cha-cha-cha.
I don't know about the cha-cha-cha or the money-making.
Okay.
But I honestly felt that somebody is trying to live out their alter ego.
Okay.
I really, really, really
Do you think Biggie loved her?
I don't know. I've never asked my son about love and Little Kim because the conversation never came up. I mean, I've heard about a little Benedict Arnold once, and after his death, I found out she was the Benedict Arnold.
Okay.
Like I said, on the piece, they did ask me if I've met Kim.
Yeah.
And they took it, I'm sure you know what sound bites.
Yes.
They took a little bit of what I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember seeing a little girl.
Yes.
At the house some years ago. And when I asked my son about that little girl, my son said, "No, that's not a little girl, Mom. She's a grown woman.
That's my artist.
That's my artist."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was years after Kim said, "Oh, that was me, Mommy. That was me."
Oh.
You know, so I really don't know Kim like that.
Oh.
You know,
well, we all thought that you knew Kim like that, didn't we, Artie?
No, I don't know Kim like that. I mean, we have a great deal of respect for her, but she's not the type of person who come to my house and sit around my table and share a meal every week or something like that.
When was it that you learned that she was pregnant and aborted?
I learned that about 1998 when I was in Philly. You were at that station, so I missed you that day.
Yeah, Miss Wallace. This is our first time meeting, but that's
okay. There was a guy that was interviewing me and said, "Oh, tell me about Little Kim and her abortion."
Colby.
And I said, "I don't do Kim."
Wow, so it's been that way for a while.
Yeah, and so we never talked about it because I didn't even know, the whole scenario behind the abortion. Then I went to Europe. Mm-hmm. And I believe I was in Germany, and a reporter came to me and said, "So tell me about Little Kim."
Yeah.
And once again, I don't know. I don't do Kim. I don't do Kim.
She has a way, though, of making people, I'm talking to Art now, doesn't she have kind of a way of making people think, like, I thought that, it was all grits and gravy with Mrs. Janice Combs and Mrs. Wallace, and
I'm a part of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever hang out with Janice Combs? By the way, you two are very different people as far as looks. I love Janice Combs' style. Miss Combs, don't take this the wrong way, but Mrs. Wallace looks like a dignified somebody's mother. Ooh. And Mrs. Puppy's mom looks like Little Kim in a few years. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Little Kim?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I plan on being probably more like Janice Combs, by the way. Okay. As much as I don't want to be, I have a feeling, because I have that kind of taste in when I get older, I think I'm going to plop a big old wig on my head and, too much makeup and, you know what I mean? Because I show no shame. And I think I'll probably be that way when I'm Miss Combs' age, too.
Well, I usually meet Janice at events.
Okay.
Yeah. We go to events together. We meet, but we don't party.
Yeah. And she party. She's got the look of party.
I don't party. I party in my house. I invite friends over, and we'll do dinner together.
Are you dating?
Oh God.
You are an attractive woman with wanting needs.
You are a dirty old woman.
I hope to be one day. And I will be dating a person. Are you dating?
Oh, God, no.
Well, when was the last time you were on a date, Mrs. Wallace? A real date where you kissed at the end of the night.
I would say about 30 years ago.
Mrs. Wallace, no. That's Biggie's. No, that's not Biggie's father. That would have been somebody after Biggie's father.
Somebody after Biggie's father.
Mrs. Wallace, you haven't romantically kissed in about 30 years?
No, I'm not married, and I don't see anyone I want to get married to. Maybe in my next life.
So, you have to kiss the frogs before you get to the prince,
Not necessarily, darling.
Well, I won't even ask you my next question, because I guess that would be 30 years, too.
Go ahead. What's the next question?
Well, when was the last time you had sex, Mrs. Wallace?
Ooh, nasty old woman. Well, 30-something years ago, too. Oh, yeah. And I don't miss it. I love my life.
Yes, I understand.
I'm very, very happy with what I do. I enjoy my grandchildren.
Yes.
They are the love of my life now.
How many grandchildren do you have?
Well, biologically, I have 2 grandchildren, but I have adopted 2 others.
And that would be China and
Joshua.
Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
How old are the kids?
Well, Tiana is 9.
Yes.
CJ is 6.
That would be a little big.
Yeah, China is 9, and Joshua is 4.
Wow, so they're all like, they come over your house.
Mm-hmm.
What does that house look like, Miss Wallace? How many bathrooms do you have in your house?
About 5.
Mm-hmm. About 5. So it'd be like 5 major bathrooms and then, one in the maid's quarters or something like that?
No maid's quarters.
Mm-hmm. Do you live in a contemporary house or is it an older house? Is that
modern?
Modern.
Modern.
High ceilings and all?
Very high ceilings.
Luxuriously decorated.
My taste.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That would be very classy. You are a very, very. You're a very. How do you describe Mrs.
Understated elegance.
Understated elegance. Thank you, Faith. Understated elegance. Yes, you are.
I enjoy myself.
So when the kids come to your house, your grandchildren, do they ever all come at one time and you just have all?
I have them all at the same time, but I get somebody to help me with them though.
Yes. Does that person live with you?
No, she comes and goes.
Is that Faith's nanny?
No.
Faith is busy. She's a working woman.
I know, she really is.
Yeah.
No, I hired my own peoples.
I'll bet you did. How long is that money, Ms. Wallace?
Very long time. For a lifetime.
Yes. You got a lifetime worth of long money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I worked hard for it, too.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And you suffered for the money as well.
I do. I really do.
When dealing with the foundation, I noticed Biggie's mom's in the studio. Everybody, Mrs. Wallace. First, does the entire community call you Biggie's mom?
I lost my identity when he passed away. I'm no longer Miss Wallace. I'm Big's mom. Some people call me Ma. Mr. Christopher.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the industry calls me Ma.
What does Faith call you?
Mima.
What do the grandchildren call you?
Mima.
What does Todd call you?
Mima.
He's a nice guy, right?
Yes,
Faith,
really
Faith picked a good one.
Yes.
And what does Puffy call you?
Ma.
How is your relationship with Puffy? I noticed his name is on Big's Night Out, but this is business. But how is your relationship with him?
Business-wise, we have a very good relationship. Well, we fight a lot, and it's no secret. But we get whatever we fight over, it's being solved and it's done. There can be on a personal level, we have a very, very, very wonderful relationship.
Good.
Because I can curse him out anytime.
Yes. And you can hug a couple of days later.
Yeah. But he understands me, and I'm still trying to understand him.
Yeah. Checks on time?
No, I pick up my checks.
You don't even want to trust the mail. No excuses. I'm coming to your office. So you call up the limo company. You charge it to Puffy. You drive into the city. I'm trying to picture your life, because you are a very understated, elegant. And if you're just turning on your radio, Mrs. Wallace is a small woman.
She feels like she's putting on weight.
You feel like you put on weight?
Well, yes, I have. I have. I was 98 pounds, but I gained a lot of weight.
You used to weigh 98 pounds?
Yep, 98 pounds, size 5.
You were a waif.
I was very bony, my doctor states.
Who are you closest with as far as hip hop moms are concerned? Any of them? Are any of them your girlfriends or?
No, I'm not a hip hop person.
Okay.
I'm really not.
No, but your mom who went through something, and you're also.
Well, the closest person on the hip hop mom right now is Diane.
Diane Houghton, Aaliyah's mother.
Aaliyah's mother. She and I, we've met a lot. We've had a lot of functions together.
How are you feeling about the progress or lack thereof in the investigation of your son's murder?
Very frustrated. I'm sure you know that we're suing the LAPD, which I
you and Faith launched the lawsuit. This is not about Faith today. This is about Mrs. Wallace. Faith is happy, though. She's sitting in the corner of the room. She got her glasses on. She's like, Wendy, don't front. This is my Mima. Todd's in the other room looking. Don't worry, Faye. I got you. Let's talk about that lawsuit against the LAPD and
not
the
in
investigation.
detail. I really...
Okay.
But I will talk a little bit about
that.
Okay,
let's talk.
To be fair. Because for years and years, I trusted the LAPD. I trusted them to solve the case. My son was murdered, murdered. And I called, and so far everybody was just working on the case, from 20 officers to 10 to 5 to maybe 4. And I believed after I read an article, and as I said, I don't believe everything I read, but I make a couple of calls and find out that something is not right.
Mm-hmm.
The result of that, I hired a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And get in touch with Faith. We talked about it, and they investigated the case and did a lot of research. Mm-hmm. Found out that you might have a lawsuit here, and so that's what we did. We pursued the lawsuit, and so far, triple limitation.
Okay,
but we are winning everywhere we turn. We're winning.
Good for you. What has it been? 5 years now? 6 years?
March 9th will be 6 years.
Your legal bills must be astronomical.
Very much so.
Do you send them over to Puff?
No.
Okay.
What's with Puff?
I don't know.
Pay my bills.
That's Big Daddy with money.
Yeah. Puff doesn't pay my bills. We work. I work.
Yeah.
Like I told people, I work hard for my money.
Yeah.
I was always a worker.
Yeah.
I have my money. Yes, Big's money paid for that. Big's money, not Puffy's money.
Yeah.
Big's money paid for the lawyers.
So, is there a point where you and Faith have agreed that you will stop the investigation and just...
The investigation will never stop until the case is solved.
Okay.
Will never stop.
Go ahead.
I mean, whenever I see the final end of it and we're satisfied, that's when the case will stop. But right now, I need to find out who killed my son. I need to find out who killed my son. The LAPD, that's another story. But I'm going to find out who killed my son.
You have 100% of the ashes, or does...
100% of the ashes.
Well, was that Anna Nicole Smith or Little Kim who has an urn of partial ashes? That was
no.
Anna Nicole Smith, I guess. Did Little Kim say... She was saying that she prayed to an urn of ashes when she used to live in a condo with Caesar now. I'm talking over Miss Wallace to Faith off the microphone, right? Faith is nodding with me. Whatever happened with that?
I'm definitely familiar with that piece. It was in a magazine.
What was that? Was that blunt ash? I mean, was that...
That was actually...
I'm sorry, Miss Wallace.
No, I think
that was your house.
That's right. Because my son's urn is there. And they took pictures. They have the photographer. I believe I was at the office, and they came. They told me that they wanted to do a story there, and evidently the photographer took the pictures with my son's urn, and she was standing next to it with my son's hat.
Oh gosh!
Coat.
Yes.
And I found that months after the piece was there. And I really did a lot of yelling over that, but the apology was too late.
Yeah.
They never knew. You never knew that I'd be upset about that, because I believe the article states that that was her home.
Yeah. And I thought that she was the keeper of like they might have split up the ashes. You know what I'm saying, Faith? Like Mrs. Wallace, you had half, and then
Faith had half. When after my son died, Faith and we agreed on, Miss Wallace, I'd like to keep this for CJ.
Yeah.
For us, and she had it. And then after, we moved into the house, I had it, Faith said, something, Miss Wallace, I really believe that you'd love to have it. Because CJ is there for the summer anyway.
Right.
And so the 2 beautiful urns are there.
Oh, you never...
To be honest, I mean, it was what should have been done. And initially, we were just thinking more so about the kids.
Right.
I think that we both were kind of on the same vibe at the same time, because I was just having feelings like, it should be together. I don't think we did it for a good reason, but, it should be all together. He should be in one place.
So how is CJ's personality between the two of you, Mrs. Wallace and Faith? How is CJ? How much does he weigh? Is he in the 95th percentile of his size?
I don't know how much he weighs, but he's muscular. He plays football.
Oh, really? He's 6 years old now.
Yeah, football, karate, what else, Faith?
Soccer. He's
everything.
Basketball.
He's very, very active.
I think he's going to definitely have, like, a lot of his stature. Like, he's built just like Big.
And he has the face, you know.
Yeah.
Face, like, get mad just like Biggie.
Yeah. Does he realize not that his father was, but who his father was to the world?
I think he does. Yeah, I was down in Atlanta. We spent some time in October.
Yeah.
And the nanny said to me, Miss Wallace, I mean, that's all he talks about. Is Biggie, his father Biggie. And even Josh said, is Biggie my daddy too?
Wow.
Because he told me once, you know something, Nina? I have two daddies, you know. And I said, you do? He said, yes, I do.
Wow.
I said, tell me who are they? And he says, Biggie and Todd.
Wow.
So he's very, very excited. And then Josh now wants to have two daddies too, Biggie and Todd.
Yes.
Because both of them are like this.
Yes.
They're two
He wants to be just like CJ.
Wow. That is great. Faith, congratulations on blending all the children together and everything. And you know, Mrs. Wallace, you seem like you'd be a terrific grandmother to,
I love my grandchildren.
And somebody, you're a very sweet woman.
Thank you.
So, what's your relationship like with Biggie's first mom's? You know, Biggie's first child. Faith, what's the little girl's name? Jan. Tiana's mom. Jan. Mrs. Wallace was rolling her. What's the rest of it?
I'd rather not comment on that right now.
Okay.
I mean, let me put it this way.
Okay.
If my son was alive today, I would kick him.
For going there from the jump.
That's all I have to say. I would kick him.
Would you kick him harder for Charlie Baltimore, Jan, or Little Kim?
I would kick him the same way.
For all three of them. She's keeping a real face. Stop trying to cover your mouth and laugh through a tissue. A Cartier tissue, I might add.
No.
That is fabulous.
I am not laughing. This is my Grammy nominee scarf.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's right. You know what, Faith? I'm sorry.
I'm actually looking over here in the, back there.
Yeah. Congratulations on your Grammy nominee. Yeah, everybody's clutching.
Actually.
Who is that woman? Hi, lady.
That's Miss Wallace's supporters and friends.
Oh, I see.
That's Wayne.
Wayne Larrow.
Hi, Wayne. That was Chris's manager.
Okay.
And that's my event coordinator.
Okay.
Alicia. She's putting the gala together for me.
Yeah, these don't look like hip-hop people. They look like just regular, nice black people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying, Todd. His face husband's looking in the room now. You know what I mean. You don't look like you're messing with any jive talkers.
No.
Yeah.
No, they're real people.
That's very nice. So, do you get any money off of any music that we're not finished? This is Miss Wallace in the studio, everybody. We're going to just play one big clump of commercials. Can I just talk to Miss Wallace, and then when we're finished, then she can go home? Because I think that if we go into a break or something, then Miss Wallace is going to say she has to go to the bathroom and slip out the BLS back door.
No, to the bathroom, so it's fine.
Okay. All right, Miss Wallace. All right. Do you get any money off Biggie's post-posthum music? You know, or posthumous, or after Biggie's death? Do you get any money off of any music that comes out that's new?
You have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a millionaire?
What's a millionaire?
$1 million sitting in the bank and then a house. Because I don't consider part of the real estate. You know, I'm a millionaire if I sell my car, if I sell my $800,000 house. No. Okay. Are you a millionaire?
Excuse me.
No comment.
Oh, that means yes. You better work me, Ma. Oh, wait, but that could mean no, in which case that would... Oh,
that's right.
Non-verbally, she just pointed to me and gave me the nod. No, you're not a millionaire.
I never said that.
Oh, now she's putting me in check.
Never said that. I said no comment.
Okay.
Are you a millionaire?
No.
Oh, okay.
I work at BLS. I don't know that is necessarily a thing that would make me happy anyway. You know what I mean, Mrs. Wallace? Why not? Because it's not about money. You know that. Faith, you know that. You know, you've got a house full of grandchildren. I've got my son. I've got my husband. I have my health.
But I enjoy the grandchildren.
I enjoy money. I would love to. I would love to have it, but that's what I'm saying. I enjoy life apart from what millions of dollars could do.
I do too.
I don't know that being a millionaire is important. I've gotten so used to not being a millionaire since I never have been one.
Well, maybe if you are, then you would know. You know, you can't say no unless you try.
Yeah, I need to get that money, though, in order to just see.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, Mrs. Wallace, have you ever met Suge Knight?
No, never have.
What do you think about Suge Knight?
I don't know him. I heard of him. And I don't have any opinion of him right now.
Okay.
I have to see him, and I have no intentions of meeting up with him.
Okay. Do you and Faith have Family Day? You know,
Family Day?
Yeah.
No, the kids come up in the summertime, and I go down in the fall, sometimes in the spring, and visit, and that's just a wonderful day for us. Every day to us is Family Day.
Family Day.
Every day to us is Family Day. Just like every day for me is Mother's Day.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us about Biggie's father.
Biggie's father died about a year prior to Christopher
being born.
Being
killed.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be possible a year prior to him being born, right? And what was your relationship like with Biggie's dad?
Wonderful relationship.
Were you ever married to him?
No.
Such a virtuous woman. Mrs. Wallace.
I told you what a dirty old woman.
Oh, Mrs. Wallace. Were you in love with him when you conceived Big?
When you think of it right now, to be honest with you,
yeah,
I don't think I was ever in love.
Oh.
I loved my grandchildren, and I loved my son.
No, but I'm talking about a romantic way.
I don't think I've ever been in love. Because if you were in love with someone, when you separate, you would feel hurt.
Yeah.
I believe that, as I said, I've never been in, so I don't know what it's all about.
Yeah.
I was happy when the relationship was severed. So I don't think that's love.
No.
You know?
Was he physically abusive to you?
No. I wouldn't even.
How did you feel about Kim and the crew on Driven saying that Biggie was physically abusive towards her?
That I'd have to see.
Faith, was he ever physically abusive towards you, Faith?
We got into arguments before, of course, but never united.
A black eye?
No, that's not even physical when you get in an argument.
Yeah. Yeah.
We use, you know how we are. We're expressive. We want to do all of this herky jerky. Yeah. But no. I can't say I was ever like...
Mrs. Wallace?
My son was not a violent person. Not much I can tell you. I mean, I don't know what went on behind closed doors.
Right.
I was never there. But all this black eye...
But those things didn't even come from Kim as much as they were coming from her friends and the surrounding people.
Well, those are Kim's people. Wow. As far as Jermaine Dupri, I think I met Jermaine Dupri once. As far as that gun scenario, and I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah.
And I'll say this much. Today, I would rather see my son in jail than where he is now.
Yeah.
And if my son had pulled a gun on whoever, Kim, I hope to God he had blown her brains out. If that's what happened. I mean, for you, 5 years, 6 years, you're going to come up and say, my son pulled a gun at you? That is just a little... That taking my son's memory a little bit too far. Yeah. I'm kind of sick of Kim right now. Gotcha. Because since my son's death, Kim has not said one good thing about Christopher. Never.
She says she loves him.
That's a good thing.
How does she look on the cover of this Honey magazine to you?
That doesn't look like Kim to me. I don't know that person. I don't know that person.
Here, Faith, you can have this copy. If you can page through it, or page through yours and see what she says about Biggie, since she always does an interview and talks about Biggie. So, how long were you dating Biggie's father before you guys broke up?
Actually, Christopher's father and I separated right after I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant.
How long were you dating prior to that?
I would say about 2 years.
Does Biggie have step brothers and sisters?
One.
A brother or sister?
Brother.
And how old is he?
I would say maybe about 40.
Wow. Did he ever have contact with Big when he was alive, like working in the camp or what have you?
No, he lives in London.
Okay.
So I believe they spoke, but they've never met.
So right after you...
When my baby came into this world, I looked at my baby, and that was the only thing I could love. I couldn't love anybody else. And I just devoted my time to my son, my love to my son.
I got you. Faith, you say anything? Art, you say anything? No. This might be the first interview where she didn't talk about your son.
It's about time. I hope she just get on with her life right now. I really would like for her to leave my son alone, try to be happy, be beautiful, be Kim. You know, because she's talented. She's, you know, I'm not taking anything away from her.
Yeah.
She's a talented human being.
Yeah.
You know, get on with your life. Leave my son alone. Let me live. Let me enjoy my grandchildren. Leave him alone. Every time I turn around, I'm reading something nasty about my son. I'm kind of tired of it.
When right after Big was killed, you had various duties as his mother, not business, but functions at your house, whether it was people mourning with you coming over. Not functions, Mrs. Wallace.
I understand.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry for that, Mrs. Wallace. Was Kim ever coming to the house? Did she mourn with you other than, did she mourn with you?
No, she didn't mourn with me. And once again, I said I never knew her. When I was living at the house, she would visit. She visits a lot, but she was on tour a lot. Okay. Damien, who was her manager, was at the house. Right. So naturally, she came there to visit Damien. We run the office from the house. Okay. She came there a lot. Okay. Sometimes she goes on tour. If she comes in 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, instead of going to the Bronx where her mom was, she, you know, she stayed at the house.
Okay. In Honey Magazine, they say just because you're very sexual and desirable doesn't mean your relationships are smooth as silk, though. And Kim's answer is, I've had boyfriends who would say mean things that wouldn't make me feel very sexy or pretty just to keep me. Sometimes men do that to keep women with them. You get in situations with men where they beat you, cheat on you, verbally abuse you. I've had those kind of men. And then Honey Magazine says, was it like with Biggie? And she says, it wasn't like peaches and cream. He cheated, wasn't loyal to me. I don't know how many times I said, I'm going to leave, and he would find me, and we'd work things out. He wanted me to do this. He wanted to do his thing, and at one point I wanted to do my thing, and that's when I broke loose and so on and so forth. But she goes on to say, but I never could do my thing. I couldn't love another man while I loved Big, so he didn't really worry. He knew I wasn't going nowhere. Sounds like she believed in something that wasn't, which we've said on this show before.
That sounds so much like Kim's story.
Have you ever met Charlie Baltimore?
Yes, I have.
Who do you like better, Kim or Charlie Baltimore? Here I go. Who do you like better?
None of them, really. Never.
How's Mark Pitts doing?
Mark is doing fine.
You get a good relationship with him?
Wonderful relationship. He's one of my adopted sons.
Good.
Wonderful.
Mrs. Wallace, I want to thank you so much for coming in, and don't you worry, we're going to take care of this. Your reasoning for coming in, which I just did a swoop down on you when you got here. But your reasoning for coming in is to talk about Big Night Out. It's the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation benefit, and they do wonderful things for the community. And the night is going to be a tribute to Aaliyah's mother, Freaky Ta's mother, Big L's mom, left up, hosted by my radio brethren, Dr. Dre, Ed Lover, and the girl from Longhead and the girl Free. We joke about the girl. I've never met her before. This will be my first time meeting her. Actually, it's a black tie event.
Yeah, aren't you telling the audience that you're going to be there too?
I'm going to be there, but I'm not doing anything, right? I'm just going to be there.
You're going to be my host. You're going to be my guest.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I'll be available to do something, though. If you need me to do something, other than, have everybody know to come out. The tickets are steep, but ballers, if you can trick up your money on Cristal, right, Faith?
Exactly. I was going to say, she wanted to give other people a chance to participate. It's been primarily targeted to corporate sponsorships and stuff in the past and just people in the hip-hop community, but we haven't had the support that we've expected, actually, in any time, any year. None of the years we really felt like, given the fact that a lot of people mentioned, how important Big was to them, to their careers, or just to hip-hop as a whole, we feel like it could be a much better, much more support given to Ms. Watson, what she's doing, because it's definitely a good cause. It's not like the money is going to her or me or the kids. This is totally separate from Big's estate. It's totally to support the kids in Brooklyn and in other boroughs, wherever she chooses to, like she said, she sponsors different neighborhoods and stuff like that. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's going to be at the Metropolitan Pavilion, yes, Mrs.
And you know what else? The good thing about this foundation is it's not a percentage that goes out as contribution. Every penny of this is spent on the kids.
Fabulous.
So I don't keep any of this for myself.
Well, you don't need it. Your money is law. And anything that you don't have, you write it off the puff.
And let me add that that's not to say that she's not still wanting all those corporate executives out there to buy tables, sending their donations, even if they can't come. But we're just kind of giving other people an opportunity who might want to come and show their support and to see some people they may want to just come and network with them. Folks,
Okay, so the tickets are $1,000 a piece, but 4 people can get together and buy a clump of 1,000. Or something, whatever. I'll give out the telephone numbers, Mrs. Wallace. We're going to get all this handled and straightened out. You know what I'm saying?
What are we saying?
Faith, I love your relationship with Mrs. Wallace.
Me too. Ms. Wallace is really she's a beautiful woman.
Faith, is your mom still alive?
My mother's in Jersey.
Do the ladies,
What's up, Mom?
do the ladies hang out, Miss Wallace and your mom? Do they get along? Well, of course they get along, but you know what I'm saying. Do they hang out? Do they go, go to the Macy's one-day sale?
My mom lives in Jersey. Miss Wallace lives up in Pennsylvania, and I live in Georgia. So if we're together with the kids, then, maybe. We're all over the place. It's like my mom spends her time with the kids for a few weeks. Miss Wallace spends time with them for a couple of weeks.
Mrs. Wallace, though, you really do need to dust off the private area. And, you know what I'm saying, Miss Wallace? You are a terrific, she's a Faith.
Thank you, Wendy. Isn't that nice to hear? Thank you. Maybe you could find me a wonderful, sophisticated man.
I would be too nervous. I wouldn't want to even take that responsibility. You are like a precious jewel, or Faith, you know what I'm saying? You're like a fine piece of Murano glass. I would have to leave it up to you to find, but Mrs. Wallace, never been in love, haven't dated in 30 years, no romantic kisses, and we won't mention the other thing, but that's been 30 years too.
That's right.
Use it or lose it, honey.
That's right. I'll lose it.
Oh, Mrs. Wallace. You know what? Too many women aren't as forthright.
My God.
Women make it out to be like, it's everything. I hear you, Mrs. Wallace.
Water is the source of life, but I'd rather drink it, honey.
Okay. In the Juicy video, what did you throw at Biggie? Art just passed me that note. I don't remember. What did you throw at him?
Actually, there was a glass.
Okay.
And I threw the glass about 10 times.
Okay.
And I couldn't break the glass.
Wow.
So when I threw the glass and the glass splattered, I just threw the glass on a door.
Wow.
Because I just couldn't break the glass.
Wow. Do you mind if I ask you how old you are? What age box? Okay. 45 to 50, 55 to 60, and I'm not going to go over that.
Okay, may I tell you a story?
Okay.
About 5 years ago, my granddaughter asked me how old I was.
Yeah.
So I said to her, I'm 65. And 2 years after, she said, Mima, how old are you? And I said, I'm 65. She says, no, Mima, 2 years ago you told me you were 65, so today you're 67. So hello, I might be 67.
I would not have pegged you for over 60.
Really?
I'm not letting the gray hair fool me. There are plenty of young women, Faith, who have the salt and pepper hair, and it's like fashionable. You are 65 plus? Joan Rivers is nothing on you, Mrs. Wallace, and that's natural.
Boy, I got you good.
No, you know what? I'm not putting Biggie's baby's moms on the telephone. Jan is on the phone, Mrs. Wallace. This is not that type of party, Jan. I'm sorry. If you have something to say, then you can do it at another time. As a matter of fact, on another show. I'm not entertaining her today, and I will not backstab you and have her up here tomorrow, even though that would normally be my style. But today, Mrs. Wallace, because I feel as though you are a dignified woman who deserves every bit of respect that you get. Now that I'm meeting you,
thank you.
You got me.
Thank you
Sister
so
woman.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Mrs. Wallace. Thank you. I like to see my guests walk out. Faith, get you next time.
Some days is going, Wendy.
Congratulations on your Grammy.
Thank you. Let me just say that before I leave. I do want to say that much. Thanks to everybody out there for just being a part of supporting the Faithfully album, because we are nominated for the Best Contemporary R&B Album of the Year.
Go on, Faith.
So, even if I don't win, thank y'all.
Yeah, I understand. All right, let me see you all walk out. I like to, and then Todd, thanks for bringing the ladies in. Thank you, you guys, Mrs. Wallace's people. Thank you very much. This is not me setting you all up. I like to see my guests walk out. I like to, Okay. All right. Why don't we always explain that? Mrs. Wallace, thank you. Look at this. Not even a designer bag. You are totally not spending your money in a foolish way. What is that? That's a regular nylon bag, Faith. Is that a Gucci? Oh, she gets the Gucci with no G's. Nobody would know. I love you, Mrs. Wallace.
Thank you.
Go on.
Enjoy the day.
Go on. Let me look at you all. Mrs. Wallace is, she got on her go-go boots. And, he's doing wonderful. Thank you, Faith. Thank you. What are you doing?
He wants to take a picture.
Oh, all right. Well, we can take pictures after the microphone closes. Faith, I love your jacket. It's brocade. Very nice. Hanging out with Mrs. Wallace today. She has her hang out with Mrs. Wallace clothes on. Normally she'd have her cleavage out, pants be all tight, coochie huggers. I hear that. You know how you have the that's nice, mommy hanging out with Miss Wallace clothes she has on today.
Forget about separating the wardrobe by color.
Fax machine. It is from the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation, and it's dated today, February 21st. Dear Wendy, I would like to apologize to you and your listeners for the reference I made about Little Kim. It was out of my character, and I apologize sincerely. My son was no angel, but that, as it may, that little merciless beauty should move on with her glamorous life and let Christopher rest in peace, literally. Thanks again for having us on your show. We look forward to seeing you at the event. My best to you and the listeners. Love always, Ms. Wallace. Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Wallace. Yeah, Mrs. Wallace, when you said that about Little Kim, and you wish that he, blew her head off with a gun, I think that was a very silent 30 seconds for everybody who was listening to the interview, because I was like, whoa.
The notorious M.O.M.
Yeah, exactly. Mrs. Wallace.